Hello everyone, I'm going to record the session since the connection of the internet has not been working as we expect. So I'm going to start by telling you that in today's lesson we expect to see how to tell a story at the airport. We know that our objective is to organize events coherently, to tell a story using articles, expressions for storytelling, and remembering the topic is air travel. First, we need to revise the use of are or an. Remember that they are both used to talk about something that is one. For example, a is used when the noun starts with a consonant. For example, B, T, C, consonant. Okay? While you use the an for vowel sound and remember sound, vowel sound. For example, an apple, an elephant, an umbrella. Do not forget it is the vowel sound. For example, if you say an hour, you have to say an hour because you don't say hour, you say hour, and that is a vowel sound. It's not the same as hotel or hospital that starts with a consonant sound. Okay, so in that case, you say a hospital, a hotel, but an hour. You use the as a definite article when something is unique. There is only one. For example, the moon, the sun, the internet. When you say it for the second time, for example, the first time you were talking about a person, so you say, I met a girl the other day at the discotheque. The girl I met is blonde. Okay, so you mention it for the second time. You talk about the same, give directions, like, for example, the west, the east, the north, or the south. In relation to that, remember that there is a text at Aula Virtual that gives you more examples about the use of a or an exercises. So you've got the same information. Let's compare a and the. For example, I bought a jacket and a shirt. This is for one, right? The jacket, we'll mention it for the second time, and the shirt. Okay, so the jacket was cheap, but the shirt was expensive. We say the when it is clear which thing or person we mean. For example, the door, we know the door we are talking about, the ceiling, the floor, we know it because they are things that we know where they are, right? For example, he's in the kitchen of his house or flat. So we know which object we are talking about. It's not the first time we mention it. Then you have the exercises, and then another explanation for the same. So, for example, I had a sandwich and an apple for lunch. Joe says a sandwich and an apple because it's the first time he talks about them. But the sandwich wasn't very good, but the apple was nice. Joey knows now says the sandwich and the apple because Karen knows which sandwich and which apple he means, right? So compare a and the in these examples. A man and a woman were sitting opposite me. The man was American, but I think the woman was British. So we are repeating the same information. Okay, so it is the same information we were reading previously, the same um, explanation, but something new is, for example, um, this from letter C. Use the when it is clear the situation. We said it previously. We say go to the bank, the post office. So those are fixed expressions. You say the bank, you say the post office, right? This is for general things. Or you say the doctor and the dentist for those professions. Mm, then we say once a week or 3 times a day when we talk about frequencies. Or a price a kilo is like per kilo. Then you've got the activities, and of course, as usually, there are some expressions that are very useful for you to connect one idea with the other. But remember that always at the end, after the exercises, you've got the solutions, the answer key, so you can revise. So going back to our PowerPoint, we revise the use of a and the. Look at this example. It says, when you arrive at an airport, the departures board will show you the flight numbers. Flight numbers, these are the flight numbers. Departure times, so the time it goes. And destinations, destinations are where it goes. At check-in or at the check-in desk, that is the place where a lady waits or a man waits for you to show your papers. Someone will check your ticket and weigh your luggage. Weigh is to see el peso. Your luggage is equipaje. Remember, this word is British. If it is more than, for example, 20 kilograms, you will have to pay excess baggage. So you have to pay extra money for excess baggage. You can take your hand luggage. Remember, the hand luggage is the small one, the one that stays with you on the aircraft. The aircraft is a plane. You also get your boarding card, es la tarjeta de embarque, and then you can go through passport control, where someone checks your passport, and into the departure lounge, where you can buy things in the duty-free shop, example, cigarettes and perfume. Shortly before takeoff means despegar, shortly before es un poco antes, you go to the place where you get on the plane. Get on the plane. Recuerden, says get on the plane. On, not in. Example, gate 3 or gate 5. Es la puerta. When you board the plane, so you get into the plane, get inside the plane, on it. Okay? You get on the plane and you board the plane. You can put your hand luggage, equipaje de mano, in a sort above your seat, hold an overhead locker, and on top of your seat. You then have to fasten your seat belt. Fasten your seat belt. Abrochar cinturones. If there are no delays is when it is not on time. The plane moves slowly to the runway, then it takes off. The arrival, cuando llegas. When the plane lands, aterriza, there is always an announcement from a member of the cabin crew. Crew is the other persons that work on the airline, telling passengers to wait until the plane completely stops before they stand up. Then you get off the plane. Remember, you get on a plane when you enter. You get off when you leave, and walk through the terminal building to passport control. When you've got your luggage from baggage collection, go through customs and leave the airport. Customs is when you have the revision of your things, like for legal. Before we go through that, and that vocabulary is in your vocabulary PDF that is uploaded, so you can see the explanation I have just showed you, plus some exercises that are not obligation, but it is for you to expand your vocabulary. Okay, remember at the end is the answer key. So continuing with it, I also have the expressions for telling a story. Okay, so the expressions are the ones that we are checking are the ones that are in the grammar PDF, but also in on at are super necessary to understand. So general bigger use is in. In is for the time, for example, in the 18th century. So for centuries, siglos. For decades, in the 80s, in the 60s, in the 90s, in the 2000s. For the years, when you say the year in 1970, in 1981, in 2020, for months, solitos, in July, in May, in June, for weeks, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, etc. Also, you use it for locations, like in England, in London, in Chinatown, for countries, cities, and neighborhoods. That kind of location, you know, They are bigger countries, cities, neighborhoods. So just for things that are bigger. Okay, on is for a little bit more specific, a little bit smaller. You use it for days and for weekends. Um, um, on the weekend is American. You say at the weekend in British English, by the way. Eso on, cuando las fechas son completas, chicos, con mes, día y año, o mes y día, eso es on May 7th, um, on my birthday, for a moment, on Friday, cuando el día está solito, on Monday, on Tuesday. And remember, it's at the weekend in British English, on the weekend American. In location, remember, in was for countries, cities, and neighborhood. On is for the street's number and avenues. On Oxford Street, on the corner. Okay? Some people say at the corner. It depends. Doesn't happen. Nothing happens. At is always with the time. Okay, so at 5, at 6. And also for specific address. So it's not only the street en tal calle, sino que es la dirección. In that case, you use at. Okay? Or specific location at the store, at school, at university, um, for big spaces. Okay, for big buildings in that case. Okay. Talking about expressions of time. Oh, there are some expressions you can use when you tell a story, like yesterday, last week, last month, yesterday, a little while ago, an hour ago, is 1 hour ago, this morning, in the past. For present, you can use today, at the moment, now, this time. For future, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, in an hour, soon, in the near future, later this evening. Okay? That was all for you to know that in unit number 11, we will be talking about how to connect one moment with the other. It is a traveler's tale. Because what I want you to take a look at is on page 92, the use of articles. We're going to be seeing that next class on Friday, since we couldn't today, to the place expressions. Now, then we are going to here because I want you to have it. Then for telling a story, that's what we are going to be doing in the next class. And of course, this is the most important. We're going to be describing a journey that happened at the airport. So, talking about a journey at the airport. So, what is our main objective? That we can connect one idea with the other using um, base expressions, and then you can connect one idea with the other. So, do not forget to use the remember to take a look at the so I'm not going to ask you to go on since we couldn't do it on Friday again. And I will see you then on Friday's class. And I wish you the best. See you then.